Channel 10, WPLG, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. This is Eyewitness News at 5. South Florida's first evening news. With Mike Schneider, Ann Bishop, meteorologist Don Noe, Khambrell Marshall with sports, and the Channel 10 Eyewitness News team.
Hello, the hurricane tops our first news at 5 tonight. Hurricane Kate packing winds up to 100 miles an hour. It is threatening our community.
The hurricane's been moving to the west, and 1 hour ago, Kate was reported 390 miles southeast of Miami. Now there's talk about Kate drifting a bit to the north. We're going now directly to the Hurricane Center with Dr. Neil Frank for a live report.
Hurricane warnings are now in effect on the Florida East Coast south of Jupiter Inlet all the way down to Dry Tortugas, and on the Florida West Coast northward to Fort Myers, including Lee County. Now, we've had reports from an Air Force plane this afternoon that indicates that the storm is continuing to move towards the west 15 to 20 miles an hour. A very good river of air has settled in over top of the storm, and the general westerly motion we're fairly confident about that. The dilemma is whether the center and the storm is going to move a little bit north of due west, or whether it will be a little bit south of due west. If it's south of due west, then the hurricane conditions are going to be down over Cuba. If it's north of due west, then it brings the center up into the southeastern part of Florida, and we have a major threat up here. Thus, the course of least regret seemed to be to go ahead and issue hurricane warnings and let people go ahead and take the actions that they need to take tonight to protect their life and property. At 5 o'clock, the coordinates were 22.0 north, 76.0 west. This position is about 350 miles southeast of Miami. Now, that's where the center is located. The storm, of course, is much larger than that, and we have had fairly strong winds reported along the coastline this afternoon, 25 to 30 miles an hour, and we're already experiencing some beach erosion. Winds are still 100 miles an hour. If the center does move up towards the southeastern part of Florida and crosses the coast or crosses the Florida Keys, tides could be as much as 4 to 7 feet above normal, and so there have been some advice for evacuations being given by your local government officials. So specific information on the actions you should take and the locations that should be evacuated are being issued by local government officials. The next advisory will be issued at 8 o'clock this evening.
There you have it from Dr. Neil Frank. And by the way, we do have, since he didn't run down the evacuations, we do have several evacuations that have been ordered. The mobile homes in Dade and Monroe counties have been evacuated. Also over in Miami Beach, we have some evacuations have been ordered as well. The people who need, the elderly and also people needing special medical care east of Collins Boulevard on Miami Beach and on Key Biscayne are advised to get out now.
All along that waterway.
Exactly. We have team coverage on Hurricane Kate and what this latest advisory means to all of us.
Don Noe has been tracking the storm. He's at the map with the very latest. Don?
Okay, and actually Dr. Frank had the very latest, but as of about an hour ago, Miami was 390 miles from the center of the storm. Dr. Frank updated that to 350 miles. These latitude numbers are now changed as 22.0 north and 76.0 west. The winds are still the same, 100-mile-per-hour winds near the center of the storm. It is moving west at 15 to 20 miles per hour. And again, Dr. Frank was talking about the possibility of a slightly more northerly course, and that is precisely why the hurricane warnings have been issued now all throughout South Florida, from Jupiter Inlet south to Key West, including the Dry Tortugas, around to Fort Myers, and also all of the Bahamas under a hurricane warning as well. That means that hurricane conditions, hurricane force winds, are likely somewhere in that area within the next 12 to 18 hours. At the present course and speed, it appears likely that the worst of the wind conditions would be felt somewhere in South Florida sometime late tomorrow morning or early tomorrow afternoon. So we're talking yet about 18 hours away from the worst, but the wind conditions are starting to pick up even right now. Here's a satellite photograph, the latest one we've taken. South Florida is still relatively in the clear, although we have had those showers move in all day today. Those were unrelated to the storm, by the way, caused by just the strong winds. We'd have those, hurricane or not, because of that wind condition. But here's the center of the storm, very visible, clearly the eye of the storm. It is north of Cuba right now. The path seems to be moving off to the west, but you can see even if the eye stays down over the Florida Straits and does the best possible thing, misses everybody, we are still going to be in this part of the storm, so it is almost a certainty that South Florida will experience, number one, some pretty strong and gusty winds beginning later on tonight, continuing tomorrow, like winds that could approach or exceed hurricane force, especially if you live down in the Keys. The farther south you are, the windier it's going to be. Also, it looks like it's going to be rainy. Now, this could be a moderately wet storm. The best thing that could happen to us would be if the storm were to continue moving to the west at that fast clip at 20 miles per hour. That means it would be over with before it had a chance to dump a tremendous amount of rainfall. Remember Juan that happened in southern Louisiana Louisiana was like that. It wandered around a couple days, and they had all kinds of flooding with 20 inches of rain. So if the storm continues fast, rain would definitely be some problem, but not as bad as it could be. Now, coming up in a few minutes, I'll show you some more and some other graphics here showing some tidal flooding in just a few minutes. Mike?
All right, Don, thanks very much. As the effects of this hurricane move towards South Florida, officials are especially concerned right now about boaters in the Bay and in the Intracoastal. Tonight, Miami police water units are herding boaters to the mouth of the Miami River, helping to get them docked before the city's bridges are locked down. Police are warning boaters right now to secure the boats and take precautions, and do it now.
Once a hurricane warning is issued, that's the time to move into very high gear with safety preparations. Now, there's no need to panic. You can accomplish a good deal more if you go about it calmly. Eyewitness News consumer reporter Molly Turner says the first thing you must decide is where you're going to be to weather the storm.
That's right. And if you're nervous, of course, you should go to a public shelter. And they will be open. I'm sure you'll be getting that information from Civil Defense. But if your house is well constructed, your family's health is good, and your home is on high ground, that's the best place to stay. However, if you live on an island or exposed waterfront, and especially, as you've heard, if you live in a mobile home, plan to evacuate to a safer house or to a public shelter. And be sure to take along plenty of water, food, and blankets. If you're staying home, here's a checklist of preparations. If you want to be safe, then put up shutters, especially if there's loose debris that could blow around. At least you can tape your windows to prevent shattering and draw the draperies to catch flying glass. Brace sliding glass doors. Bring in or lash down everything outside. Patio furniture, garbage cans, even plants can become missiles in a high wind. Don't drain the pool. It could pop right out of the ground. But unless the pool pump is inside, turn it off and wrap a waterproof covering over the motor. Fill up your gas tank and put your car in the garage or park it close to the house away from trees and poles. Have enough food on hand for a couple of days. Buy small cans to avoid spoilage, and don't forget your pets. Now's the time to turn the refrigerator to its coldest setting, and don't open it if the power goes off. Make sure you have necessary medicines on hand. The most important item is water. You need a ½ gallon a day per person. Use bleach to sterilize containers. Then fill the bathtub and washing machine with water for bathing and flushing the toilet. Bleach can also be used to purify drinking water, 8 drops to a gallon, and let it stand for 30 minutes. Be sure to have flashlights that work and extra batteries on hand. Use candles with care. A gust of wind could start a fire. Also have a battery-operated radio or TV so you'll know when the storm has passed and it's safe to go out once again. And remember to keep a window open on the side opposite of the wind. This is to equalize pressure in the house. Whatever you do, don't go outside until there's an official all clear. You know, a lot of people forget that when the wind dies down, and that means that the eye of the storm is passing, and it's going to zap you from the opposite side
usually
very
even
shortly.
harder, I think.
Yes, yes.
What do you do if you have a boat?
Dangerous.
If you have a boat in your yard and it's on a trailer, what's the best way to protect it?
Well, if it's small enough, they say that you ought to put it on the ground, fill it half full of water to keep it there. Lash it down if you can. Otherwise, lash the boat to the trailer and let the air out of the trailer tire so that it won't roll easily. That's about all you can do.
Thanks, Bob.
Right now, lots of people getting in their cars trying to get home early to secure their property. It seems logical. And at the Metro Justice Building today, the Chief Judge Gerald Wetherington allowing employees to leave early, evacuating the Metro Justice Building.
We've just gotten word from the Chief Judge's office that we are to vacate the building at 3 o'clock. I assume they will begin at that time putting up storm shutters, which means, of course, that we're not going to conclude this today.
The employees followed the order, streaming out of the building this afternoon, and there was a major traffic jam near the courthouse as workers tried to make their way home in this storm. Tonight, Hurricane Kate is also causing detours out on the high seas. Cruise ships are now rearranging their schedules to avoid the storm. Eyewitness News reporter Jack Rotholz tells us the hurricane has so far not forced any cruise ship cancellations.
Due to the weather and all, we want you to read this letter. There is a possibility we may have itinerary changes.
The weather is Hurricane Kate, and she's playing havoc with cruise line schedules. Norwegian Caribbean Line saying the ship might be diverted from its original destination, Nassau, to calmer waters around Mexico.
What we are hoping for is to keep on going west.
All day long, ship officers have been tracking Hurricane Kate, and no matter which course she takes, Captain Ole Skoglund says he's not worried.
Is there any
danger of being overtaken by the hurricane, or can the ship outrun a hurricane?
We can outrun it. We can make about 24 knots, and so far this hurricane is making about 15 knots, so there shouldn't be any danger for that at all.
Still, the crews aren't taking any chances, stowing deck chairs in the ship pool tied down by ropes. Surprisingly, there are few cancellations. Carnival Cruise Line says there have been numerous phone calls, but so far, everybody is checking in.
We have diverted the holiday. She sailed on Saturday, and where we would normally take her around Cuba, we went around Hispaniola instead and got into beautiful weather immediately.
So, passengers checking in on the Norwegian Sunward 2 say they are still expecting a big party cruise.
We'll go around that little thing.
That little thing?
That little thing, yeah.
I guess the guys out on that ship are going to know what they're doing. They'll keep us up some way.
Are you concerned about going on this cruise at all in the middle of the hurricane?
Yeah. Where we're going.
And as one cruise official put it, the safest place to be in the middle of a hurricane is on a ship, because then you can go around it. If you're stuck on land, she says, then you have to ride it out. On the Sunward 2, Jack Rotholtz, Channel 10 Eyewitness News.
Right now we're going to check the traffic heading home on our highways on this day. Al Abrera is standing by live and airborne to tell us how bad it is. Al?
Boy, Mike, I tell you, it is really bad, and it's not the safest place in the world to be on these roadways here in Dade County this afternoon. They jammed to leaving the downtown Miami and Lauderdale areas because of this bad weather, and folks headed for home trying to get to their homes and get some work done, I would imagine. We've got numerous accidents. It's going to take police some time to get some of these accidents. Right now, Biscayne Boulevard leaving downtown Miami jammed to capacity. We've got I-95 extremely slow up through the Hollywood. Dixie Highway is bumper to bumper down through the Gables. Some heavy showers all about, and these winds are gusting up to 50 miles per hour in some locations. I'm looking at downtown Miami, where we have at least 50 boats waiting at the mouth of the Miami River, trying to get into inland a little bit, and that's a boat jam right here at the mouth of the Miami River. But again, please, if you're taking to the roadways, drive extremely cautious, have patience. Al Abrera, winds airborne traffic, live for Channel 10 Eyewitness News.
The danger's not over yet for Colombians living near the Nevada del Ruiz volcano. Geologists say new tremors around the smoking mountain might signal more activity. Meantime, Colombian officials say the death toll is about 25,000 people. Doctors say those who did survive are now facing an outbreak of typhoid fever. Military authorities in the town of Armero say they also have a problem with looters. Extra guards have been put on duty to stop the thieves. Anxious friends and relatives of those living near the volcano can find out more about their loved ones. A list of 2,500 survivors is now available. It was compiled by Red Cross workers and ham radio operators on the scene. For a list of those names, you can call 883-6737 between the hours of 8 and 5 p.m. And then from 5 p.m. after 5 until 9 o'clock in the evening, call 885-8300. Both of those numbers are Dade County numbers. A guilty verdict today for 5 Palestinians charged in the hijacking of the Achille Lauro. The men found guilty of illegal arms possession in a one-day trial in Genoa, Italy. Each given prison sentences ranging from 4 to 9 years. The accused hijackers are still facing kidnapping and murder charges.
Another effort to free the hostages in Lebanon. That tops our first look at other news around the world tonight. Terry Waite of the Anglican Church says he has made progress meeting with the kidnappers last week. It is now reportedly meeting with U.S. officials in London, and now says he will head back to Beirut tonight. Waite is warning the hostages' lives are indeed still in danger. The daughter of a former hostage is dead tonight. 24-year-old Ann Weir was killed in a bus accident in Cairo, Egypt. Her father, the Reverend Benjamin Weir, was held hostage 17 months by Islamic terrorists. He was finally freed back in September. Soviet President Gorbachev arriving in Geneva, Switzerland today, preparing to meet President Reagan for the Superpower Summit. And now there is talk the meeting might be extended an extra day to Thursday, so both leaders will have time to sign new agreements being drawn up. The summit officially starts tomorrow.
Up next, Don continues tracking Hurricane Kate.
We have some information that's important to you, so stick around. It's coming up next on Eyewitness News.
Imagine just for a moment the future, a world where everything works. Oh, please. So perfect, even an inexpensive frozen entree could be prepared with astonishing skill.
How inexpensive?
Oh, around $1.69. The Budget Gourmet. 12 exquisitely prepared entrees like tender sirloin tips with country vegetables, linguine with bay shrimp and clams marinara, and more. The Budget Gourmet.
I have tasted the future. It's around $1.69.
Not coming out. Got my allergies. And this miserable sore nose.
Oh, you old poo. That's why I bought you Puffs.
Puffs? But we've used these for years.
And look how sore your nose is. Puffs are softer.
Oh. Well, they are softer.
Puffs are puffed to be softer. They're thicker.
Things like old times.
Better.
Puffs, softly scented or unscented. The softer way to blow.
Must be treatment. I smell muffins. Happens every time I help sort blueberries for Pepperidge Farm muffins. They only want the plumpest, sweetest berries. Make the same fuss about baking all their muffins. See, Pepperidge Farm still remembers. Simple things make better muffins. Muffins! Oh, fella.
This deposition ought to break the Foley case wide open.
The one in Washington?
Right.
I hope so.
When you have something urgent to send overnight, use Express Mail next day service from the post office. Our 2-pound pack is just $10.75, about half what most others charge. And when you need it there tomorrow, we deliver.
I don't know how to thank you.
Don't thank me, thank this.
Express Mail service. We deliver excellence for less.
Bring your film to Walgreens one day and get color prints back the next day. 7 days a week. No extra charge at Walgreens Photo Center.
Time to check in once again with Don No, and I'm sure that nothing new and exciting has happened since the last couple of minutes we talked.
Well, and when we last talked to everybody on Friday, we had the tropical storm. Remember, it just formed out there on Friday, as Kate, and I don't think anyone thought it was going to build like it did and develop into a hurricane, because it is late in the season. You know, we're talking about a mid-November hurricane. There's only been, as far as I could count, about a half a dozen hurricanes.
This is very unusual.
What it is, half a dozen hurricanes that have formed this late in the season in November, and I don't think any have taken the track that this one is going to take. So it is unusual in a lot of respects. Let's take a look at the current conditions. The barometer reading is 30.06 and steady. Relative humidity is 72. The wind is going to be very important. It is now northeast at 23, gusting to 33 miles per hour, and will soon gust higher tonight and early tomorrow. The sunrise at 6:41, sunset at 5:31. We will not see either of those events, at least not observed from the Earth. We only have 2 temperatures in. They're too busy with other things at the Hurricane Center, and I can imagine what they are. 79 Miami, and the Fort Lauderdale temperature at 79 degrees. Let's go over to the map. We'll show you once again what is happening. This is the live radar picture. Now, we're not going to see much out there now. We've had showers all day long, a few over the Bimini chain, a couple showers just to the east of us, and they're very rapidly moving in on us, as you might imagine. But where we expect to see some rain developing, it will be way, way out here, but that will probably not occur for another 12 hours or so. The radar just simply cannot see that far yet. So the main body of the storm is still off the radar scope. Now, we're going to show you again the latest coordinates that we showed just a few minutes ago. These are the updated numbers that Dr. Frank just gave to us. At 5 p.m., the Hurricane Kate position was located again about 350 miles to the southeast of Miami, and the numbers, hopefully we'll see them shortly. Well, they are 22.0 north, 76.0 west, winds of 100 miles per hour, sustained winds, gusting a little higher probably north of the center, and the movement is west at 15 to 20 miles per hour. In other words, it is moving in this general direction, sort of toward the Florida Straits. Again, a hurricane warning and a gale warning is up for almost all of South Florida, from Jupiter Inlet, which is just on the Palm Beach County line, by the way, Palm Beach, Martin County, south to Key West, and then over to Fort Myers, and also all of the Bahamas. Now, what that means is somewhere in this area, a hurricane possibility exists. Now, we're going to take a look at the coastal flood watch from St. Augustine down to Key Largo. That means tides will be 4 to 7 feet near where the eye crosses the shore. Not in this whole area, but some coastal flooding is possible in that area. Just where the eye crosses the shore, 4 to 7 foot storm surge is possible at this time. And our forecast, obviously, do I have time for the forecast, or no, we don't? Okay, we'll get to that later. Mike?
All right, Tom, thanks very much. Of course, we'll have the latest on the hurricane on Eyewitness News at 5:30 and 6. We'll keep you posted on all the information from the Hurricane Center throughout this evening as well.
Still ahead, new concerns about cancer in older women.
Plus, Dr. Red Duke, and he takes a peek at a medical pioneer. Eyewitness News is coming right back.
Just sign here, ma'am.
But this is more than what your sign says.
Well, sure, you're using your credit card instead of cash.
Excuse me.
If your service
service station charges a higher price for credit cards than cash, take your business elsewhere. Take your business to Gulf, the people who don't charge you more for credit cards.
Come again.
Gulf, one low price, cash or credit.
When you're feeling the stress of everyday life.
Dad, can I keep him?
The pain in the back.
Dad, my new significant other.
The strain in the neck.
Howard, are you familiar with the Incas?
We've met.
When you'd give anything for a massage, turn on the shower massage. Its pulsing jets of water, from gentle to powerful, work through whatever the day has dished out.
Howard, are you in there again?
The shower massage, only by Teledyne Waterpick.
This is Art Carlson. Still to come in the 5:30 half hour of Eyewitness News, tracking Hurricane Kate. The storm is now threatening South Florida and is apparently setting a course through the Florida Straits. We'll have team coverage as civil defense and emergency operations centers gear up and on preparations for the storm in our community. We'll also begin our Eyewitness Extra series, In the Name of God, a look at the growing influence of television evangelists. Join Michelle Gillen and me for Eyewitness News at 5:30.
Japanese traditions date back thousands of years. Some have changed slightly. Some have even made it to America, like the authentic taste of Nissin's Oodles of Noodles. An original recipe of succulent noodles in a broth flavored with oriental spices. And for a full delicious meal, just add meat and vegetables. So if you want traditional Japanese noodles but don't want to spend centuries at the stove, try Nissin's Oodles of Noodles, available at your supermarket. Isn't it time you used your noodle?
There's the dirt you can see, and that's hard to clean. But the dirt you can smell, that's meaner than mean. Gain the power to beat smelly dirt. Dirt's more than just mud, and you know it well, 'cause just as tough as mud is that nasty old smell. Gain the power to beat smelly dirt. Gain gets out tough dirt and strong smells. Gain gets clothes so clean, they smell clean. Gain the power to beat smelly dirt.
On the next 24-karat edition, the stories America will never stop talking about. Brooke Shields and Sean Connery at the ultimate billionaire's birthday bash. Jane Russell's candid revelations, Hollywood heartbreak and happiness. Mary Fran uncovers regal wealth in France. Plus the amazing cost of raising a royal prince. All this and more on the next Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Tonight at 8, here on Channel 10.
Tonight, a shocking survey blaming doctors for not detecting breast cancer early enough. A University of California study showing 90% of the doctors surveyed do not order annual mammography tests for women over the age of 50. The exam is recommended by the American Cancer Society for that age group. More than half the doctors say they don't order the test because it costs too much. Mike?
Tests like that, obviously, they're helping people live longer. This week, Professor of Medicine Dr. Red Duke takes a look at the pioneers, the people who are truly leading the way.
You know, this is the time of year that we take time to ponder those things for which we have to be thankful. Oh, Dan. There's a bunch of things in medicine about which to be thankful if you stop and think about it. You know, the field of anesthesiology has not been as sophisticated as it is today. In fact, it used to be downright barbaric in some cases.
Well, in their ancient days, the Egyptians were known to knock the patients out either by getting them drunk or hitting them overhead even to operate on them.
But fortunately, things changed. And one of the great advances in the history of medicine was the invention or discovery of ether.
In the early days, anesthesia was given usually by whoever walked down the hall, orderly or janitor, just to pour open drop ether.
And with ether, there was always the underlying fear of an explosion. However, today, anesthesiology has advanced to an incredibly sophisticated science.
We're just beginning to hit all the improvements, and it seems like every year something new comes out and makes it more safer.
You know, I think we owe a real debt of thanks to pioneers like Dr. Schneider for helping medicine become what it is today in our behalf. Oh, Dan. Don't you agree? Let's go, Dan. I'm Dr. Red Duke.
Coming up, who is bowl-bound and who is not? Maybe that's where Dr. Duke was heading.
Heading for the bowl. And the Chicago Bears give Windy City something to cheer about. Khambrell Sports is coming up next.
Follow us right away
to a magical store.
Toys R Us kids know that we will find so much more.
I'm making my list, Jeffrey.
And Barbie and Ken are on it. Day to night, Barbie and Ken go from office to evening with 2 different looks. Barbie, $8.84 after rebate, Ken, $9.84.
Wow!
Barbie's home office goes from day to evening, too, just $16.88 after rebate. So much for Barbie at Toys R Us, all from Mattel.
It's the world's biggest toy store. Let's go!
That's good. I like that. Now, ooh, when muscle pain hits, I could miss a great shot. But today, instead of aspirin or Tylenol, I take Advil for muscle aches and minor arthritis pain.
Advil has a non-prescription strength of ibuprofen, the medicine in the prescription brand Motrin. Doctors have prescribed ibuprofen over 130 million times. Advil's good for hours of relief, and Advil didn't upset my stomach. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
When you buy a CD, do you sometimes feel like you're jumping from an airplane? Lock up! You never know if you're jumping too early or too late. Why get pushed into CDs?
Nobody's pushing me!
Now you can get safety and high yield with Ginnie Mae certificates from Government Securities Corporation. Now yielding as much as 10.5%. And Ginnie Mae's are safe because they're backed by the U.S. government. Call Government Securities Corporation today.
I love your new house. And your Aramis.
Thank you for the Aramis umbrella. It turned out to be the perfect housewarming gift.
Oh, I think it stopped raining.
Good. At last I can take you outside and show you the terrace.
The Aramis Executive Umbrella. Your free gift with any $10 purchase of Aramis, Devon, Aramis 900, or JHL. Now at the cosmetic counter at all Jordan Marsh stores.
Don't miss the exciting November Home Show, Coconut Grove's largest. See the newest home products and services. Bring the family. November Home Show, today through Wednesday, Coconut Grove Exhibition Center.
Time for the first sports. Khambrell is here with football.
Football, oh yeah, lots to talk about football. Dolphins didn't need what they had happen yesterday. They did get a win, which is what they needed. More injuries, though. And on the college ranks, the football talk is about the bowls. The players of Penn State ready to come to the Orange Bowl if extended an invitation. Hurricanes of Miami apparently Sugar Bowl bound, and who else but Larry Sugarman? We'll have more on that in the next half hour. What I'd like to talk to you about today is a team that is not only developing a near cult following, but also is dismantling teams along the way. The Bears have established themselves as the NFC Central Division champs already. Along the way have attracted millions of fans. William the Refrigerator Perry playing a big part. The continued good running of Walter Payton, a major factor too. But even non-football fans are becoming aware of the Bears because they are just playing good. How good? Well, Dolphin fans will get a chance to judge firsthand Monday night, December 2nd. But watching the Bears beat up on the Dallas Cowboys yesterday, one could almost feel sorry for the poor Cowboy fans not willing to face the facts. Quarterback Danny White faced the facts so often that he began to take long breaks to mull over his situation. His replacement, Gary Hogeboom, was so preoccupied that the first 2 times he touched the ball, they were interceptions, one for a touchdown. And so it continued for an afternoon. The Bears beat up the Cowboys so thoroughly, Dolphin fans can only hope the Bears blow most of their strength before hitting town on the 2nd. One other point, the Bears have been so good without their #1 quarterback, Jim McMahon. He's likely, however, to be back in time for the game against Miami. Ann?
Thank you. But I don't
I'll tell you what, the play that I enjoyed the most while we're getting ready over here is when the Refrigerator tried to pick up Peyton and throw him across into the end zone.
Yeah, it was not a good idea, but they don't allow that.
Maybe they will next year. Okay, thank you, Khambrell. Now, Ann.
Now, Ann. Okay. A famous international treaty tops our look back in history in tonight's 10 time capsule. President Theodore Roosevelt signing the Panama Canal Treaty 82 years ago today. Panama leasing the canal area to the United States just 11 days after it won its independence from Colombia. The canal under United States control until the Carter administration returned it in 1978. On this date 16 years ago, Joseph Kennedy died at the age of 81. Kennedy had a long diplomatic career serving as ambassador to Great Britain for many years. And on November 18, 1960, 20th Century Fox postponed filming Cleopatra after Elizabeth Taylor was admitted to the hospital. She returned to the set in January, the film becoming one of the highlights of her career.
Ann and I will be working on the 6 o'clock half hour of Eyewitness News. You join us then.
Michelle Gillen and Art Carlson next with Eyewitness News at 5:30.
I'm Howard Jaffe at the National Hurricane Center with the latest on this storm.
I'm Glenn Kleiman at the Emergency Operations Center in Southwest Dade, where county officials are ordering some people to move out of their homes and advising others to.
I'm Garrett Glazer at the Emergency Communications Center in Fort Lauderdale, Broward County as well, getting ready for Kate.
I'm Jerry Cohen on the Intracoastal Waterway in Fort Lauderdale, where hotel management says a hurricane warning means evacuation.
I'm Michelle Gillen at the Crystal Cathedral in Southern California, where one of the most spectacular religious programs is broadcast nationally each week.
From Channel 10, this is Eyewitness News at 5:30 with Michelle Gillen, Art Carlson, meteorologist Brian Norcross,